Okay, people. So, yo, I did an animated feature today, right? It is a new piece called "Run's Gone Wrong." Um, yeah, again, I had one of those stupid moments where I'm in the queue and someone's asked someone else, and like, "Yo, what film is this one?" And it's like, "Oh, it's an animated one." And I'm like, "Wait, am I seeing a cartoon? Huh? Okay." But as soon as I saw the first thing on the screen, I realized what the thing was. I was like, oh yes, 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 yes. I did really want to see that one. I think the interesting thing about this, right, when you do get the opening credits, it's a 20th century film, right? So it's like, oh, interesting, right? Because 20th Century is owned by Disney. So I think when animated stuff comes from like that studio, you would expect Pixar or just Disney. So yeah, it was definitely like, okay, let's see what this is then, right? Because is it a case of, oh, the creme a la creme is going to be kept for, like, what is it? Is there going to be a tier of quality? You know, but yeah, I thought, oh, this is intriguing. So, people, it's a funny one, right? Because there were three directors, right? So we got Jean-Philippe Vine, Sarah Smith, and Octavio E. Rodriguez. But the weird thing is, right, they've got Octavio E. Rodriguez down as the co-director. I'm a bit like, when there's three, I don't know if you could do it like that. You couldn't say John, like directed is Jean-Philippe Vine, Sarah Smith, co-directed by. That makes no sense. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a weird. Anyway, it's written by Smith. She co-writes with Peter Baynham. It's produced by Lara B and Julie Lockhart. Um, cinematography is David Pears and Haley White. It is edited by David Burrows. Music is Harry Jackman. Um, and yeah, it's through, as I said, 20th century animation and locksmith animation. I believe that's where Sarah Smith is the CEO, founder, all of that, and I believe she runs it with Julie Lockhart, Locksmith. You see, Locksmith. Boom. Yep, yep, yep. Um. Okay, where did I get to? Oh yes, the cast. Okay, so we have a wealth of talented voice actors and actresses doing their thing. So Zach Galifianakis is Ron. Um, that is the B-bot, Barney's one. Jack Dylan Grazer voices Barney Podolsky, a socially awkward middle schooler. Olivia Colman is Donka, Barney's maternal grandmother. Ed Helms is Graham Podolsky, Barney's dad. Justice Smith is Mark, one of the creators of the Bebop, right? And he's the CEO of Bubble, right? They kind of yeah, they kind of set it up a bit like, an Apple type of thing. Um, or if you remember last year, right? It was a Netflix animated film. And I think it was on the Lord and Miller deal. It was the Mitchells v. the World, something like that, right? The Mitchells and the Robot Uprising. But remember, because that one was all about an app, a friend app and the CEO. Yeah, so it was a kind of a similar feel to it. Rob Delaney, who, yes, now I read it, I'm like, yes, because I recognize the name, the voice, but I couldn't picture it for the life of me. I was thinking, oh, who is that? I recognize the voice, man. Yes, Rob Delaney is Andrew Morris, the the second in command to Mark, right? The Wozniak to the Jobs, as it were. But not really. Not quite so. We've got Savannah Mercedes, one of Barney's classmates. She is voiced by Carly Cantrell. Rich Belcher, another of Barney's classmates, is voiced by Ricardo Hurtado. We've got Stanley Tudman. He's a he works at the Bebop factory, right? And he's voiced by Marcus Scribner. And there is another of the Bebop people, Philip, and he's voiced by Thomas Barbuska. Okay, so yes, there you go. Right, so yeah, the gist of the film, right? The gist of the film. So it's a story of Barney, a socially awkward middle schooler, and Ron, his new walking, talking, digitally connected device, which is supposed to be his best friend. Out of the box. Ron's hilarious malfunctions set against the backdrop of the social media age launched them into an action-packed journey in which boy and robot come to terms with the wonderful messiness of true friendship. Ah, makes you warm inside, right, people? Makes you warm inside. So, yeah, there you have it, right? So the film opens up with Bubble, right? We've got the big event, and it's funny because because of the whole pandemic, Apple really changed up their events, right? Usually it was in the auditorium, so they were always good, they were always interesting, but now there's this new level of production, drone shots and different kind of shoots and locations and everything like that. It's a full production. So with this Bubble launch, right, it did kind of remind you of these new Apple launches, as it were. But yeah, so we see a big bubble, right? The headquarters again, like the new Apple headquarters, which looks so badass, man. Hey, you know what I mean? Hey, you whether you like Apple or you don't like Apple, their headquarters looks pretty friggin' sick, right? It looks like one of their habitats in one of those, 80s, 70s like sci-fi films or TV shows, right? But yeah, so we open up with this, and that's the exterior. Then we go inside and we see Mark, and he's giving a talk, but then it pulls back and we see he's practicing, right? He's nervous, he's practicing. Because a lot of these people, right? You invent. You're not necessarily a good public speaker. So we then quickly transition. So it goes from the practice straight to now he's on the stage, right? He's on the stage and he's talking. And at the start, right, they show that there's a little bit of tension between Mark and Andrew. Like and it's crazy because it's in the live public, launch. You're giving your spiel, and you got some disgruntled mofo be like, Actually, I invented that. That was my idea, remember? And there was all of this, but the presentation is for this new B-bot, right? A raffle, a lucky kid from the audience comes on stage and gets to meet the first of its kind, right? So it's kind of like this egg-shaped thing that opens up. Well, you put your hand on it, right? So it imprints, as it were, and opens up, right? It then connects to all of your shit online, right? So it would get to, like your social media, your LinkedIn, right? Your iTunes, just all of this stuff. Probably looking at your Google history, right, to get an idea of the things you like, your interests, all of that kind of jazz. And yeah, so then it's like, hey, how are you? Right. And it can change because it's like a blank kind of thing, but it can change, right? So it could appear to look like whatever. So it appeared to look like this girl's favorite anime character. And so it can do all of that, right? It can turn into a little scooter. It's a one-stop shop, basically. So you can imagine all the kids now want B-bots. They all want B-bots. So we have the, then we cut to the Podolskis, right? And we see Barney with his dad, like his mum has died. He's with his, so it's his dad and his grandmother, and they're a funny Polish family. Have you noticed, right? That Eastern European is kind of the go-to for quirky, funny families, right? It's usually Eastern European, sometimes Jewish, right? That's how they like to play their kind of quirky, funny families. And you've usually got like, a goofy grandparent, right? It does seem to be that template, but yeah, that's his template, right? So they are happy, right? He's like, got a nice little setup. The dad, he works a lot. He's a bit bumbling, as we see, but he seems happy, but maybe not flush on the quiche, But yeah, now everyone has got B-bots. Barney feels a little left out. We see him um on his scooter, push scooter, scooter. Is it scooter? They are scooter. Because that's the thing, because scooters are often like motorbikes, right? But I'm talking about the scooter which you hold the handles and you kick to move, right? That's still called a scooter too, right? I think it is. Anyway, we see him on one of those going to school. Everyone else is on their B-bots, having fun, traveling in, doing all these fancy new things, and he feels left out. Feels left out. Now, the interesting thing on this journey, right? He's not paying attention, goes across the road. A van has to quickly slam on its brakes, and it drops something. Drop something. Yeah. Yes, people. Because the thing it drops is a B-bot. So it's Barney's birthday, right? And everybody, like, his parents wanted to throw him a party, but he doesn't really have any friends. Doesn't really have any friends. And he really wants a B-bot, and everyone's teasing him, and it's all a bit just rubbish. And his dad and his grandmother, at the end of the day, they realize how tough he's having it. So they're like, you know what? Let's go get him, man. Shop shut. What can you do? Broken B-bot, in it, right? And then the hijinks begin because it's broken, so it's not working the same as everyone else's, right? And so we get to see him trying to interact with it and get it working and just all of that jazz, right? So it's, it's decent, right? This is decent. And as this story goes on, right, stuff happens at Bubble, stuff happens at school, stuff happens with Barney and he's Bebop Ron, and I think they do really try and layer this story, right, and make it like those old school, cartoons and stuff, right, with the message in there. Again, a bit like the Mitchells v. the World or whatever the hell that one was called from last year. So I believe that one was around social media, right, as well. And I like the social media side of it. I kind of think it's not it wasn't really social media, it's more friendship, right? And that's the message in this. We get to look at friendship, the friendships that we make, the friendships we let slip, why we let those things slip, what we could do to resurrect. And also is taking things for granted, right? Because when you look at this, these B-bots were created to be the out-of-the-box friend, the out-of-the-box best friend. You know what I mean? Now, there's one poignant part of the film when Ron says to Barney, am I your friend? Right? I'm meant to be your best friend, but am I yours? Like, do you like me? You want me to like you, but do you like me? And it's just like, yeah. Because, we know this. There's often hierarchies in relationships. Like, how many times have you seen one person go, oh, yeah. Claire's my best friend. And then Claire's like, oh, okay, because I don't know what to say, right? Octavia is my best friend, so it's just like, or like you see it, groups of friends, a lot of them will go do something and they won't invite one of the others because they see that person as a more peripheral. They're not in the inner circle. We see it in relationships. One person might both love each other, but one might love a little bit deeper and harder than the other, right? Or people are more willing to do certain things for some people, it's all of this. And this is what Run Gone Wrong tries to show you, right? It tries to impart this message on to the viewer. And listen, it's a family fic, right? So I think that's decent, right? That's not a bad thing to do. It's not a bad thing to do because it is that thing where people, and I mean, people, I'm like kids now, right? It's told you could do anything, and people should like you because of this, and you can't not like someone. And wait, you don't like me because I'm black, you don't like me because I'm a girl, you don't like me. And sometimes it's just, no, I just don't like you, right? And so there's so much going on, and people are so worried about what's around them, but then what are you putting out there? You want this reaction from people, but what are you offering up? What are you putting on the table? And I think that's the big thing with Run Gone Wrong. It's nice. The animation is good. It's a decent story, people. It's a decent story. So it's 106 minutes. So that's what, an hour and 46 minutes, right? Yeah, I believe. Yes. So you know, it's not too crazy on the time. The time, it's a decent length. So here's the thing, right? So listen, you might have seen it today as part of our 65th BFI London Film Festival. You know what I mean? Because yeah, it was showing at the Royal Festival Hall, which does seem like a fitting kind of venue for a family flick like this. But if you weren't able to see it, fear not, people, fear not, because it will be available in cinemas, I believe. I believe in cinemas. Yes, in cinemas on the 15th of October in the UK, right? And so that's next Friday. And in the States, you gotta wait just a little bit longer, sorry. So it's Friday the 22nd. Okay. So is that right? Is that 22nd of Friday? Or is that a Wednesday? Huh. No, that is no, it is. So, but yes, that you have that look forward to. So you can see it then the 15th in the UK or the 22nd in the States, people. So yeah, there you have it. Ron Gone Wrong, a new 20th century animation. And yeah, decent, people, decent. And I will say, listen, if you liked cloudy with a sense of meatballs, something meatballs, right? If you like that, if you like the Mitchells v. The World, the Robots, the Revolution, whatever the hell that title was, if you enjoyed those sort of things, right? Big Hero 6, if you like that kind of stuff, I think you will enjoy Ron Gone Wrong. Okay. So yeah, there you go. So remember, check the information details for the dates and all of this. And yeah, we'll see you on the next.